Good afternoon, guys. Got some rest this morning, got into bed about 5 o'clock after a long hot shower last night, and darn near broke my fingers right after the video. Let me show you what happened. See that bruising starting? Yeah, I'm feeling every bit of that. This finger too. Just about broke the tips of my fingers. So I had 3 big bins left over, 4. 3 big blue ones and 1 medium gray one. And I put them up in the attic last night, out of the way. All this, the rafters kind of like go up here and here. So right along here, the entire width of the garage, right above the door, is all pretty tall access. And I was able to get all 3 in there stacked, and then I went to put the gray one inside the 3. I've just got them up here. That's all I've got up there right now. Plenty of room. I'll put the big cooler up there. I could put these up there, no problem. I could fit tons of stuff up there. And they've got nice planks of plywood lined all here just for storage. So I got the ladder out, put the 3 blue ones up there, stacked them all on top of each other, and then I went to slide the gray one inside. And when I did that, I slid it over and it got to the edge and it wanted to go in the bins. The edge of it slid down and caught the edges of my fingers. It's pretty much exactly like I slammed my fingers in a car door. It was all I could do to hold on to that ladder from the pain immediately. Oh my God, that sucked. So I ran them under cold water, didn't help, took a whole bunch of ibuprofen, finally got the swelling down and was able to go to sleep. But that kept me up for quite a while. It's not painful this morning unless I try to grab something. But yeah, that's tender. So that was my adventure last night. Anyway, today I don't have anything really big left, just a few minor things, a couple medium things. I'm gonna do this first so I can have this ready by the time the wife gets home. She was surprised this morning. I didn't tell her, like I said yesterday, that I was doing any of this. So I heard her hit the front door. She's like, "What the?" She saw her car missing. She went back inside, and I heard her open this garage door. She goes, "Whoa." And then she called me. And of course, I'm dead tired. She's like, "You didn't think this through. I don't have a garage door opener. Garage is still open." I'm like, crap. So I had to get up and close it. But it'd be nice to get rid of this thing. I don't know why they use this. It's a little third of a horse. I've always had half horse for a 2-car garage. I put half horse in the old house, and there was a half horse when we bought it. And this thing just kind of, I don't want to say struggles, but it's not easy, and it is noisy. It jerks and yanks the door, and it's clanky, and the half seems to be at least smoother. I don't think it has to obviously work as hard, but the initial torque, I think a half makes just that much of a difference. And the range on this thing is horrendous. I mean, I haven't seen this sold in, 15, 20 years. Chamberlain, it sold, for those of you out of the country, it sold at a big box store here called Home Depot. I'm sure you've heard of it at least. And it's a good brand, at least these days. I put one of their higher end just before we moved in the old house, and it was Wi-Fi connectivity, and it had a great app from the phone, and all that kind of good stuff, and it worked great. Nice and smooth. Anyway, want to get rid of this. This is a 2-horse. I didn't get it because it's a 2-horse. I certainly don't need 2-horse. That's good enough for lifting the heaviest wood or solid steel door that you could possibly get. Now this one isn't lightweight. This is Florida, and this is up to current code. All of these extra support beams are for hurricane code. Our old house, I had to replace the garage door a few years ago because it just buckled and it was cracking and it was old, and it didn't have any of this. I think it had one at the top and one at the bottom, and that was code, like 15, 20 years ago, whenever that was put in. It may have been original at the house from 71. I don't know. I doubt it, but it looked like it. So this here is what you get put in now, and there's also bracing into the wall itself for hurricane code. These extra studs here And you know, it's just to prevent this door from blowing in or out during a hurricane. But all of these add weight, obviously. You know, they're not super heavy, but they can just about double the weight if you have a lightweight door. And this is a very lightweight door. So I forgot what my point was, but I don't need a 2-horse because this doesn't take anything more than half a horse. I mean, obviously a third works, half is absolutely perfect. And that's where you'll find most of the, sometimes entry level, but mostly mid-level garage door openers. The Ryobi doors, or openers, come in 2 horsepower ratings. Now, maybe they're measuring differently. You know, maybe it's because this is belt drive versus chain. I don't know. But they have a 1.5 for their low end and a 2 for their high. Now, the biggest difference between the units is how many things you can plug in and how the light is on the bottom. That's why I got this particular unit for the plug-in modules. The 1.5, it's not only a slightly smaller motor, but again, more than enough for anybody's 2-car garage. It has less ports around the sides. These are plates, access port. I can't speak this morning. Coffee is not kicked in yet. Access plates where you plug in your modules, all your stuff like this, right? And the smaller one didn't have enough for everything I wanted to plug in, so I had to get the top one. Also, the light is a lot smaller on the entry-level one. So this is what I went with. Shouldn't be that big of a deal. I'm going to imagine that it's like pretty much any other garage door opener. Step 1 is to disconnect the old one. And I guess we'll start by putting the door down. You can hear how noisy it is here. Now, even though it's really noisy in the garage, the house is so well insulated, I can't hear it. I can't tell when she comes home or when she opens the garage out here and, you know, I'm back in the office. Nothing. She hasn't opened it in a while because the last time I heard her open it was when her car was in the shop after the accident and she'd been using my car. There is an opener in my car. We only have one that we got with the house. So it's been a while since it's been open and closed. But you heard how noisy it is. I mean, it's just shaking and rattling and clanging. And that's kind of typical of a basic unit. So we are going to disconnect the drive. Now the door is free. I'm going to pull out this cotter pin of sorts, pull out the pin, that'll disconnect the door from the latch. Have probably one more, up there at the top, and some bolts, and that'll disconnect the drive rail from the hinge. It's a little awkward doing this by yourself because you need something to support this, so I'm going to use the ladder up here as a base. That way I can disconnect these 2 bolts, drop it down and just set it on the ladder. Luckily I've got another ladder and a step stool so I can get up here because I can't quite reach. It's it's a good 8 foot up in the air. It's a nice tall ceiling. In the old house, I could reach up and grab my rail. That's a huge difference. And at the old house, this adapter, this bar, was almost horizontal because it was so much lower. The rail was like just above the door in the old house. It's so strange having room. Love it. Okay, let's get her done. Almost there. Took a little bit longer than expected because I did have to change bracketing. Things are different dimensions. Had to put in new lag bolts up there. And this whole thing is twice as heavy as the old one. Didn't expect that. I had to use a couple of these boxes up on top of the ladder because it's so big it doesn't fit inside the ladder. The old one, it was easy. Just drop it down. I had the ladder up a little higher and it went right up on the top steps there. And that's what I've always done for garage door openers. This thing is like 3 inches wider than the entire ladder assembly. Quite beefy. Let's see, wiring I'm gonna reuse. It uses wired sensors and a wired push switch here. And all I've done, since I have no idea which wire is which, I forgot to look when I disconnected them. I just tied these two together real quick, and using a multimeter on resistance, you can tell which one is for the switch, and then the other two are for sensors. I'm going to swap out the physical sensors for the new ones in this unit, just because sometimes they have different operational values. I mean, they should be all the same. It should be you know, an on-off type of connection, but you never know. No point in reusing these old things anyway. But I'm reusing the wires because they are good wires. They're run up through the attic. Now, all the other things are wireless to it. It does come with an outdoor keypad that's of course wireless, and it comes with two for your cars. And I bought one extra because I use one when I'm on the bikes. Let's wrap it up. All right, all physically connected, wired in. I have to now program it, program the switch. I have to install the outside switch. I have to set the travel limits and get it going. I'm assuming this light will go off after programming. It's been on like 5 minutes. An interesting and cool note about the keypad here, if you don't want to or can't wire it in, I already had the wires running through the wall, but if I didn't, I would have taken this option. It's also wireless. You can put in batteries, and it comes with this receiver that you then wire in on top of the unit, and it'll talk directly to the keypad. So you don't have to run a new wire if you don't want to, and I certainly wouldn't have gotten up in the attic just to run this wire. I would have just plugged this guy in. Holy monkey, was that some frustration. And I'll show you what I was doing wrong. First of all, I cost myself 20 minutes because I forgot to put on the outside trolley, the plastic part that everything attaches to, on before I fully assembled everything. So I had to take it all back down, disassemble the rails, slide that back on first, reassemble everything, and put it back up. So oops on me there. The other frustration was got it all together, doing the programming, which is simple, same as pretty much any other garage door opener that's digital like this. You hold down the up or down, whatever it wants you to do first, you put it into its programming mode, and then you just hold down the button until it's where it should be, and you press set, and that's how you set each up and down location. Well, I did the up, did the down, it shut, and it wouldn't set. It just sat there flashing, would not do anything. I could do the up again, and as soon as I did the down, it just wouldn't finish. It wouldn't save anything. Total frustration. And what was happening was this last hurricane brace on the bottom was just breaking the beam. I had them just a little bit further in. I had to put them to the extreme of the brackets to get them to see each other. That green light was out, and I couldn't tell because it was just behind the edge of the bracket. So I am pulling what's left of my hair out just because of this. And what happens is, during programming, if the beam is broken, it just quits. It doesn't tell you an error or anything, it just stops. So it looked like it was normal, but it wasn't working. So there you go. And by the way, I did try this with the old sensors first, and it did not work. These are specific to the unit, and they provide different types of feedback. It's not just a IR dumb beam. So you do need those. You do have to go through and actually install everything for the unit. The other thing I had to do is Frankenstein together parts with the old and the new bracket here. There wasn't enough clearance just using the one that came with it, even at the extreme connection, to clear the hurricane brace. It was hitting the metal as soon as it went horizontal. So I got to go to Lowe's. I got 2 temporary bolts in here now just to test it to make sure I had clearance, but it's a little wobbly. So I need to get these slightly bigger bolts to fill the holes and slightly longer so I can put in some lock washers. But I had to use the old curved part, which had a little bit more drop. You can see here's the Ryobi one, and here's the Chamberlain one. So it had another couple inches extension, and that was just enough to clear this edge to give me the room needed to physically do it. And it barely, with that, barely is enough to open the door fully and not hit this big battery cover. This thing eats up room. You may have to open this up and keep it open. I'll open the door here for you. You can hear how quiet it is. The only noise in here right now is the air conditioner blower going. It's very quiet. So you just tap that once to, hello, tap it once. No? What did I do wrong? Maybe the button's working now. All right, what the hell am I doing wrong? That's interesting. Sensor's good. Sensor's good. It's supposed to go up if you just tap up. Down, up. Okay, stand by. Something else is wrong. All right, here you go. I must have bumped a button. Here you can hear how quiet it is. All you hear is the noise of the metal door. The drive itself actually sounds like a really quiet screwdriver. Can't really hear much, and there's nothing from the belt system, not like the old clattery chain. All right, time to have dinner. Then I'm gonna do the outside switch and program the cars and get all that done. More sloppy, lazy manufacturing. You know, you got Chinglish for crappy instructions written from Chinese companies. Well, this is Fringlish, freaking French companies. The printed manual that comes with this is fucking wrong. It says you can wire this. It says to wire this. Actually, it doesn't even mention the wireless module that comes with it in the box. I should have known better because it also came with an addendum and a spare part, or actually an additional part that they were correcting in the manual. So nothing worked. I tried switching the polarity, I tried the original wire direct up to the unit, nothing worked. You have to use this as a wireless device. It does not function as a wired remote. So ignore that part of the manual, look it up online. Here's the receiver, plugged it in, paired it, it's pretty much like Bluetooth. Oh, look at that, works fine. Speaking of which, didn't even see this, another addendum. This is another additional part and correction to the manual. They now give you Wi-Fi repeaters. Apparently one of the complaints with this unit was a poor connectivity to your Wi-Fi. Obviously I'm not gonna have that problem here in this house, but it's nice that they give you these two repeaters. So if you need to daisy chain to your network, you can do so. That'd be great for, say, a detached garage and you don't have great coverage out wherever it is. Nice feature. But again, print a new manual, Ryobi. My God. Yet another problem in the manual. To program the remotes, it says press and release the program button. Incorrect. You have to press and hold it. I was pressing and releasing, nothing was working, nothing was happening. I had to hold it for 3 seconds. Again, correct online, wrong in the printed manual. Driving me crazy. And just for confirmation, the programming instructions on the keypad here are not working. It's not rocket science. I'm going through the steps. I get to step 5, press 0 on the keypad, and the door is supposed to move. Does nothing. So let's look online and see what's changed. And sure enough, wrong instructions. See where it says within 30 seconds, press the 0 on the keypad, door will move. They have transposed the words press and hold several times in their stickers, on their parts, and in their manual. I watched their YouTube video, and even though they said press, he's holding it down in the video. You have to hold it. My God, companies, hire native speaking people to create your instructions. It is ridiculous. This is almost 2019. It is a global economy. You can't do this kind of crap. How much money have they wasted by hiring people just to field incoming calls from, I guarantee, a ton of people saying, I can't program my remote? You know, I looked it up on a video. I knew that online had some more resources, but certainly a lot of folks won't do that or won't be able to do that. Just lazy, man, just lazy. Okay, got all 3 remotes done, got the external keypad working, got the internal keypad working. Now I need to throw on the modules. Done with programming, and I'll see if they just plug in or if I have to do something else. Well, I'm going through installing the modules here. Bluetooth speaker, that just pops in. Laser module, that just pops in. Each one is a numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And you can turn them off by using the keypad here. Like I'll turn off the laser pointer with 5. Now, I haven't read through all the setup instructions yet. I'm assuming it'll come out automatically and stay on for a while when the door opens. That's a manual turn on and off. It wasn't turning off. It's been on a few minutes. Oh, but a big freaking gotcha here. I get over to install the power cord reel. It's cool because it's retractable and it's a 3-port on the end. And it's a heavy duty one. It uses 2 of the ports, dedicated for ports 1 and 2. And it draws power directly from this port right there in the middle. However, again, they give you a freaking addendum that says, oh, by the way, if you install this, you have to have your bracketing installed to the inside of the opener, which of course isn't standard and isn't mentioned in the freaking manual. Because in order to install it, you have to tip it up and latch it in, and it hits your support straps if they're on the outside, and of course mine are on the outside. So I'm just going to temporarily take this bolt out and dip it down to snap it in place and then put it back up. I'm not actually switching it to the inside. Whew. Through some creative laddering, got it in there, held it with one hand, disconnected the bolt, dropped it a few inches. It was just enough to slide that bracket out of the way and pivot it, lock it into place. So now you got 3 outlets, and it does have a GFI circuit here with a test and reset button built in. And you got your auto retract, really powerful auto retract on a spring, and it's about 40 feet long, reaches to almost the end of the driveway, so it's good for plugging in lawn equipment, or for what I'm gonna use it for, any kind of power tools in the garage, or battery chargers, battery tenders. No longer do I have to have a hook with the extension cord dangling in the middle of the garage, you know, ready to drop for tools. There's gotta be a retract button somewhere. I can't see it. That light is really freaking bright. Maybe it's like a vacuum. Yank and pull. Yep, there it goes. Okay, let's see. One more. I got a fan module. Looking forward to this one because it's freaking hot in here. I was waiting to put it on since it's huge and would have really added to the weight of installing that switch. So you just put the 2 hooks in the top and boom, you're in. To turn it on, you just do so with the keypad, or when I connect it to the smart home, I'll be able to, I believe, do that. Let's see, that's port 3, 2. Oh, that was 3. There we go. Let's see how powerful it is. It's not bad. It's on par with that little black one I've got up there. It's very quiet. It's quieter than that one. Tilts and swivels any way you want. Wonder if it has different speeds. Let's press that again. Yep, that's lower. That's low. Okay, so there's high, medium, and low, and off. Nice. I'll be using high. See, this is great for when I'm working on the bikes here. Just swivel it around. It's a direct wind from up high. Oh, that's nice. It's not obstructed by anything on the floor. You don't have any cords to trip on. Love it. Definitely nice and quiet in comparison to this one over here, which still flows very well. It's twice as loud. This is also a lower tone. Okay, now I get to read a lot of instructions, figure out how everything works, and then I'm going to tie the whole thing into the smart home. Let you know how that comes out. Minor problem. See that garage door opener, the old one? That's a freaking solid piece of steel. I've never seen one that isn't in sections. That's one long, I don't know, 10-foot bar of steel. Yeah. I suppose I can Dremel it in half. That's gonna suck. It's probably gonna take a couple Dremel blades or discs. Crap! See, everything's coming in handy already. I got extra light, I got a fan on the job, extension cord works. Got some extra reinforced discs ready to go. I'm going to loosen up the chain real quick, get it out of the way, cut her in half into a couple 5-foot sections. That should be enough for the guy to take in the truck. Boom! Gotta love Dremels. Went through it like butter. Didn't even use half a disc. Well, some mixed feelings on the product here. The hardware itself, I'm ecstatic about. Love the garage door opener, love the accessories, and luckily everything is working as configured out of the box. Switch is working, modes are working, everything functions well. Something that's really cool is on this LED light here, not only does it stay on for a period of time after you open or close the door, but it has a motion detector built in. So if you're out here working, normally the light would shut off and you'd have to go back to your panel and turn it on if you wanted it on. This will automatically detect your motion and keep it on for a few minutes until there is no motion. So it's totally automatic, really cool. I was just sitting here reading and reading and reading, and it went off, and just a little bit of movement, saw it, picked it up, turned it back on for me. That was really cool. Not a big deal, something that I would be using because I'll have the really big garage lights in here soon, but that's going to be really helpful for a lot of people. Okay, so love the hardware. The software is literally useless. Right now the app is broken. Of course, it happened in the last week. I bought this, 6 weeks ago, just before we moved, because I got a good sale on it, got 70 bucks off. And the reviews are filled with the app broke. This update broke the app. Update broke it. It's down to 1.7 stars right now. It won't even connect. I can't even connect it to the network. It looks like a pretty straightforward process. You fire up the app, you log into your account, you hold down Wi-Fi to put it into connectivity mode, you go on your phone, connect to it as a Wi-Fi device, that all works fine. You put in your credentials for your home Wi-Fi, it then switches over to it and starts to update its firmware, and then reboots. And that's it, that's all you get. You start the whole thing over, starts to update the firmware, and reboots. Can't do a thing about it. So I'll call them in the morning or email them or live chat, whatever they have available. But there's nothing I can do, and I'm pretty sure everyone is going to have to wait until they fix the app, because that's what it looks like is the problem right now. So I can't use the actual Ryobi app to control it, which is something we like. It's just a little peace of mind, if you're in bed and you can't remember if you put your garage door down, it's nice just to fire up the app and see, garage door has been open for 2 hours. Like, crap, I left it open. Close, please. We got used to that with our last Chamberlain that had that app built in, and that was flawless. I mean, it didn't have any smartness built in. It was just phone control, but it worked. It was instant, didn't have to mess with any settings, and it worked from anywhere on the planet, anywhere you were on the internet, you could control your garage door. Simple as that. That's all I want out of this. And of course, like the Netgear, this, even though it's touted as smart home compatible, no, not really. What they mean is you can use their app. There are some people that have started to write some code for it to get it to work through smart things, kind of like the Arlo cams. But again, this is the wild, wild west of smart home stuff. We're not there yet where everything just works together like you would think it would. You're gonna find these incompatibilities the more stuff you buy. I don't know what garage door openers out there would be just plug and play to work with Alexa or HomeKit or Google. If any, I don't know. But this one doesn't. It's got nothing built in. It's just made for their app. So luckily, works great as a garage door opener. Glad it's done. This was a horrendous project. Lots of fails on Ryobi's parts here. I love their other stuff. Love all their hand tools. Absolutely love their mower, blower, weed whacker works great. This thing, it's like one team was working on the hardware and then the other team were like, duh! Working on the software and the instruction manuals. Not much else I can say. That's it for today, guys. I will catch you tomorrow.